All right, so you're thinking about a career as a pesticide mixer,
Yeah.
getting ready for that interview.
Well, you've come to the right place.
We've got a ton of great info from RoleCatcher, uh, career guides, interview guides, the whole 9 yards.
We're going to dive deep into those resources,
Yeah,
give you the tools you need to really stand out.
exactly. Now, when you hear pesticide mixer, it's easy to think, okay, just mixing stuff.
Right.
But it's so much more than that, right?
It really is. I mean, think about it. Pesticide mixers, they're kind of like alchemists, right? Blending science and precision to create these products, protecting crops, controlling pests.
It's a crucial role, really.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher, they emphasize that. I mean, the impact on agriculture, public health, it's huge. It's a career that requires accuracy, a deep understanding of chemical properties,
Yeah.
and above all, a serious commitment to safety.
Absolutely. And speaking of safety, that's almost guaranteed to come up in your interview.
Right.
So let's dive right into some of the tougher questions you might face, straight from RoleCatcher's interview guide. What I find interesting is how each question is designed to reveal specific skills and traits.
Exactly. It's not just about what you say, but what it says about you, you know? Like, take the question, describe your experience working with different types of chemicals. Seems simple enough, but the interviewer is digging deeper. They want to gauge your experience with pesticides specifically, your awareness of potential hazards, your dedication to safety protocols.
So how do you approach a question like that? You can't just list off every chemical you've ever used, right?
Yeah. You got to be smart about it. Instead, focus on specific examples that show you understand pesticide properties and the safety measures involved.
Okay, so give me an example. What would you say?
All right, so for instance, you could say, in my previous role, I worked with herbicides, things like glyphosate and atrazine. I was responsible for accurately measuring and mixing them, according to strict safety protocols. That meant wearing the right PPE, making sure there was proper ventilation.
Okay, yeah, that shows you know what you're talking about, that you take safety seriously.
Yeah.
And, this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really useful.
Oh, absolutely. Their AI can actually analyze the specific job description you're applying for and suggest relevant examples from your own experience that you can highlight.
That's really cool.
It's like having a personalized coach helping you tailor your answers perfectly to each interview.
So you're not just winging it.
No, not at all.
All right, let's move on to another common question. How do you ensure accuracy when measuring and mixing pesticides? What's the interviewer really getting at here?
Well, they want to see that you're meticulous, detail-oriented. Because in this role, those qualities are essential. Even a tiny error in measurement, it can have big consequences.
It's not a job for the sloppy.
No, definitely not.
So you can't just say, oh, I'm careful. You need to give concrete examples. How would you approach that?
Talk about your experience using different measuring tools like graduated cylinders, scales. Explain how you double-check your measurements, to guarantee accuracy. Mention any quality control procedures you follow.
Right, so you can say something like, I always double check my measurements and calculations, and I use a checklist to make sure I haven't missed any steps in the mixing process.
Perfect. That shows you're not just going through the motions, you're really paying attention.
Right. And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you refine those answers even further.
Well, exactly. It analyzes your responses, suggests improvements. Make sure you're hitting those keywords, highlighting the skills and experience that really matter.
Now, for a more challenging one, have you ever had to deviate from a standard mixing procedure? How did you handle it? This one feels like it's testing your problem-solving skills under pressure.
Oh, absolutely. The interviewer wants to know, can you think on your feet? Can you make good decisions when things get unexpected?
So how do you craft a winning response to a question like that?
Pick a specific situation where you faced a challenge, had to adapt. Explain why you deviated from the standard procedure, the steps you took to ensure safety, effectiveness, and the result of your actions.
Okay, so for example, you could say
something like, once I noticed a discrepancy in the recommended mixing ratio for a new pesticide, I immediately consulted the product's safety data sheet, contacted the manufacturer to clarify the instructions. After confirming the correct ratio, I adjusted the mixing process accordingly, making sure it was both safe and effective.
That's a great example. You show initiative, problem-solving skills, and commitment to safety all at once.
Yeah, it's about showing you can handle the unexpected.
Okay, let's try this one. How do you prioritize your tasks when mixing pesticides for multiple projects or clients?
This is about organization. They want to see if you can manage your time, handle multiple demands without getting overwhelmed.
So how do you showcase those multitasking skills?
Describe your process for prioritizing tasks. Maybe use a to-do list, a calendar, a specific software program. Explain how you decide which tasks are most urgent, most important, and how you make sure all the deadlines are met without sacrificing quality.
So you could say, I prioritize my tasks based on deadlines and the complexity of the mixing process. I use a scheduling app to keep track of deadlines and allocate enough time for each project. I also communicate proactively with my team to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. It's all about demonstrating your ability to handle a busy workload and still deliver top-notch results.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can be a big help here, right?
Absolutely. It can analyze your responses, suggest ways to strengthen them, making sure you're really emphasizing those organizational skills that employers are looking for.
Okay, another challenging one. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem with a pesticide mix? This one seems like it's really testing your technical knowledge and your problem-solving abilities.
It is. The interviewer wants to know if you can go beyond just following instructions. Can you identify the root cause of a problem, analyze it, and come up with a solution?
So how do you show off your troubleshooting skills?
Share a specific example from your experience. Describe the problem, the steps you took to diagnose the issue, the solution you came up with, and the outcome.
Okay, so what would be a good example?
I once had a situation where a pesticide mixture wasn't dissolving properly. I reviewed the mixing instructions, checked the expiration dates of the chemicals, tested the water pH. After figuring out that the water pH was outside the recommended range, I adjusted it, and that solved the problem.
Perfect. You're showing that you can think critically, that you understand the chemistry involved.
It's all about showing you can solve problems effectively.
Here's a critical one, especially when you're dealing with potentially dangerous materials. Have you ever had to deal with a spill or other safety incident when mixing pesticides? How did you handle it? What's the interviewer really looking for here?
They want to see your commitment to safety, your ability to act quickly and effectively in an emergency. They're looking for someone who puts safety first for themselves and everyone else.
So how do you show that you're that person, that you're a safety champion?
Share a specific incident, highlight the steps you took to contain the situation, mitigate any risks, follow all the safety protocols, be detailed, be specific.
Okay, give me an example. What would you say?
Let's say, during a previous job, I had a small amount of herbicide spill while I was transferring it to a mixing tank. I immediately followed the company's spill response procedures, put on the right PPE, contained the spill using absorbent materials, and disposed of the waste properly according to regulations. I also reported the incident to my supervisor and reviewed what happened to figure out how to prevent it from happening again.
That's a strong answer. You're showing you know the procedures, you take them seriously, and you learn from your experiences.
Right. It's about being proactive and responsible.
Okay, on to a question about proper handling and storage. How do you ensure that pesticide mixes are labeled and stored correctly? Why is this so important?
Proper labeling and storage, they're essential for safety, for following regulations, and for preventing accidents. The interviewer wants to know that you understand these procedures and that you're meticulous about following them.
So how do you emphasize that meticulousness? How do you stand out?
Describe your process in detail. Explain how you check that labels are accurate, easy to read, how you store the pesticides based on their specific requirements, how you maintain a well-organized storage area.
I always double-check labels to make sure they're clear, accurate, and attached securely to containers. I store pesticides in designated areas, separating them by type and hazard level. I also make sure the storage area is well ventilated and secure, to prevent unauthorized access.
Exactly. It's about showing you're not cutting corners, you understand the importance of proper procedures.
Now, here's a question that might seem straightforward, but it requires a more nuanced answer. How do you ensure that the proper amount of pesticide is applied to a target area? What's the interviewer really trying to assess here?
They're going deeper than just mixing. They want to see if you understand the factors that can affect how the pesticide is applied. Things like wind speed, the type of nozzle you're using, calibration of the equipment, even the specific characteristics of the area you're treating.
So it's about the bigger picture, not just the mixing itself.
Right. Explain the factors you consider, the steps you take to ensure accuracy, any quality control measures you use.
What would be a good example to use?
You could say, before applying any pesticide, I carefully review the product label and calibrate the application equipment. I take into account things like wind speed and direction, the size of the target area, the type of vegetation. I also use a GPS-guided system to ensure even coverage and prevent over-application.
You're showing that you're thinking ahead, Considering the environment, making sure everything is done right.
Exactly. It's about a comprehensive approach.
All right, let's wrap up with this question. How do you stay up to date on new pesticides and mixing procedures? What's the interviewer's goal here?
They want to know if you're committed to continuous learning, staying current in a field that's always evolving. They're looking for someone who is proactive about expanding their knowledge and skills.
So how do you show that you're that person, that you're on top of things?
Describe the resources and strategies you use to stay informed about new developments.
For example.
I regularly read industry publications like Pesticide and Toxic Chemical News. I attend workshops and conferences like those hosted by the American Society of Agronomy. I also participate in online forums and discussion groups to stay connected with other professionals.
You're demonstrating that you're not just content with what you know, you're always looking to learn more.
Exactly. It shows initiative and dedication. Remember, in any interview, preparation is key. Understanding what the interviewer is really asking, it helps you craft those winning answers, showcase your skills, and make a great impression.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher's AI-powered tools, they can make a huge difference in that preparation. Their platform can analyze job descriptions, suggest tailored responses, even give feedback on your performance. It's like having an advantage, a secret weapon.
Exactly. So use those tools, prepare thoroughly, and you'll be well on your way to acing that pesticide mixer interview. Okay, so you nailed that pesticide mixer interview, landed the job.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. But it's just the start, right? What's really exciting is the potential for growth in this field.
Right. Where can this job take you?
Well, RoleCatcher's career guide, it lays out a pretty clear path, different stages, opportunity to level up your skills along the way.
Okay, I love a good career roadmap. So tell me, where do you typically start and what are those milestones you're talking about?
Usually you'll begin as an entry-level pesticide mixer.
Makes sense.
Think of it as your training ground, right? You're assisting with operating the mixing equipment, making sure you're following instructions and formulas precisely, doing some basic maintenance and cleaning, keeping accurate records, of course.
So it's all about mastering the basics.
Absolutely. And of course, safety always comes first.
Right. Safety first.
Always. Then, as you gain experience, you show you're competent, you move up to junior pesticide mixer.
Okay, so what changes at that level?
Well, now you start operating those machines independently. You're tackling more complex mixing procedures, troubleshooting minor issues, conducting quality control checks. You might even help train new team members.
So you're taking on more responsibility, more independence.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher, they highlight this. At this stage, it's not just about doing the tasks correctly, it's also about thinking critically. How can we improve things?
I see.
You might work with your supervisors, optimize the workflow, streamline procedures, maybe even suggest ways to improve safety protocols.
So you're becoming a problem solver, contributing to the bigger picture.
Right. And as your expertise grows and you develop those leadership skills, eventually you reach the top tier, senior pesticide mixer.
Now we're talking. What does a senior pesticide mixer do? What sets them apart?
At this level, you're basically the maestro of the whole mixing operation. You oversee everything, making sure it's efficient, accurate, and compliant with all those safety and regulatory standards. You might be developing standard operating procedures, mentoring junior staff, troubleshooting those really complex technical issues, maybe even working with the R&D team to test new formulas or implement new mixing techniques.
So you've gone from following the recipe to creating it.
That's a great way to put it. It's a real testament to all your hard work, dedication, and continuous learning. And speaking of learning, RoleCatcher really stresses the importance of professional development throughout your career.
Right, because this field is constantly evolving. New technologies, regulations, best practices. How do you stay ahead of the curve?
Well, RoleCatcher suggests a multi-pronged approach. First, stay informed about industry trends and advancements.
How do you do that?
Subscribe to relevant publications like Pesticide and Toxic Chemical News. Attend those workshops and conferences. Organizations like the American Society of Agronomy, they host some great ones.
So immerse yourself in the professional community.
Yeah, exactly. Networking is also crucial. Connect with other professionals, go to industry events, participate in those online forums and discussion groups. Sharing knowledge and experiences, that can give you valuable insights, keep you up to date.
It's a great way to learn from each other.
Absolutely. And don't forget about continuous skill enhancement. Look into certifications or additional training to stay current with the latest technologies and techniques.
Okay, how do you find the right ones?
Well, actually, RoleCatcher's platform can help you with that. It can guide you towards relevant courses and programs based on your career goals and what's in demand in the job market.
So it's like a personalized career advisor, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And of course, never underestimate the power of hands-on experience. Take on those challenging projects, volunteer for more responsibility, look for opportunities to expand your skill set.
So it's a combination of formal education, networking, and practical experience that drives advancement in this field.
You got it. Embrace that proactive approach to professional development, and you'll be setting yourself up for success. You'll unlock your full potential as a pesticide mixer. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI tools, they can be super helpful throughout this journey. They provide tailored insights, guidance, helping you navigate each stage of your career.
Sounds like a great resource. But let's not forget, landing that job in the first place often depends on that interview. We've talked about the tough questions, but how can RoleCatcher help candidates actually prepare for the interview experience itself?
Well, they offer a whole suite of AI-powered tools designed to help you ace that interview. One of the most useful is their mock interview simulator.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So this mock interview simulator, it's really cool. Basically, it lets you practice answering common interview questions for pesticide mixer roles, get comfortable with them.
Yeah?
And the best part, it uses AI to analyze your responses. It gives you feedback.
Oh, wow.
Like how clear are you being? Are you concise? Are you hitting those key points that the job requires? You can even record yourself, watch it back, see how your body language is, how you're presenting yourself overall.
That's a really neat feature. To see yourself, how you come across. It's like having your own personal interview coach right there. So you're not just going in blind.
Exactly. You get to identify those areas where you can improve, refine your answers, really nail it.
Are there any other tools that can help with interview prep?
Oh, yeah, definitely. RoleCatcher also has this feature where you can research the people who might be interviewing you.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you put in their names, the AI does its thing, searches the web, finds information about their background, their experience, even their interview style.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So you can kind of get a sense of what to expect.
Exactly. It gives you an edge. You can tailor your responses, anticipate the kind of questions they might ask, but also it lets you connect with them on a more personal level.
Yeah, because you've done your homework.
Shows you're genuinely interested, that you've taken the time to learn about the company, the people you might be working with.
It makes a big difference, I bet. So it seems like using RoleCatcher's AI tools combined with thorough preparation, candidates can really boost their chances of getting that pesticide mixer job.
Absolutely. It's all about giving yourself the best possible shot. Knowledge, skills, resources, that's how you succeed. And as we've talked about, the pesticide mixing field, it's a rewarding one. Lots of opportunities to grow, advance your career.
Definitely. And speaking of the future, it makes me wonder, what kind of innovations are we going to see in this field down the line?
Ooh, that's a good one.
If you could fast forward, say, 10 years, what would a typical workday look like for a pesticide mixer?
Let's see.
What kind of tools are they using? What challenges are they facing?
Well, if you look at the trends, sustainability is a huge driving force in so many industries these days.
Yeah, it seems like everything's going green.
And pesticide mixing, it's no different. I think we're going to see an even bigger shift towards more environmentally friendly pesticides.
Right, so less impact on the ecosystems.
Exactly. And I bet the application methods will become even more targeted, precise.
I've heard about drones being used to apply pesticides.
That's right.
Could that become more common?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Drones with advanced sensors, spraying systems, they can deliver those pesticides exactly where they need to go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They can navigate tricky terrain, reach areas that traditional equipment can't get to.
Plus, you'd think it'd be more efficient, use less pesticide overall.
Exactly. And then there's AI, that's got to play a bigger role, right? Imagine self-mixing systems that can automatically adjust the formulas based on all sorts of real-time data.
Like what kind of data?
Things like weather conditions, soil type, pest populations.
So the system's constantly learning, adapting.
Yeah, it's optimizing for effectiveness, but also minimizing the environmental impact.
That's really fascinating. So it sounds like the future of pesticide mixing, it's all about precision, sustainability, and automation.
I think you're right. And for those entering this field, it's an exciting time to be a part of it, to be at the forefront of these advancements.
Definitely. So to wrap things up, as you're getting ready for that pesticide mixer interview, keep in mind you're not just going for a job. You're stepping into a field that's about to undergo a technological revolution. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one leading the charge, developing the next generation of sustainable, innovative pesticide solutions.
It's an exciting possibility.
It is. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of pesticide mixers. We've learned a lot from RoleCatcher's insights, their guides, and those AI-powered tools that can really give candidates an edge.
It's been great sharing this information.
And to all those aspiring pesticide mixers out there, best of luck in your job search and your future careers.